Hi, welcome to part 3 of mental wealth, where I'll be teaching you how to promote financial health in yourself and your children and students. We all unconsciously recreate the familiar until we become aware and we choose something better. This is what I've learned as a psychotherapist, and none of us is exempt from it, not ourselves, not our children. So we learn roles and belief systems in our families and early adulthood, and those carry into our adult life. We unconsciously are attracted to partners that remind us of aspects of people in our families. We often take on a similar role. So in family systems theory, there are different roles that children take. There might be the good child, the scapegoat, the mediator, the rescuer. And by understanding what our roles are, we might understand why we chose our careers or why we behave in the way that we do. So as a therapist, I help people become conscious of beliefs from the past and how they're shaping your future reality, and empowering ourselves to examine what's working for us and what is no longer serving us, so that we can improve our lives personally, professionally, and financially. Many of our drivers are unconscious. So unconscious thoughts, beliefs, assumptions, limitations that we have about ourselves, unconscious contracts with family members. Maybe we don't want to be threatening to someone in the family, so we've made ourselves small. Sometimes we have defense mechanisms that kick in and cause us to be unconscious. Financial denial is extremely common. People not knowing what their credit card balances are, or what their net worth is, their liabilities versus their assets, not knowing the interest on their student loans or their mortgages or their car payment. All of that unconscious behavior can have a financial implication. So what you don't know will hurt you. So I want you to become aware of when you might intellectualize or rationalize your financial problems and live in financial denial. We want to move from financially unconscious behavior, which is described on the left, to financially conscious behavior, which is described on the right. I apologize, some of the words on the slide got a little bit distorted, but we want to move from denial to awareness, from blame to responsibility. Many of us blame our parents, our past relationships, maybe our bosses or employers or the government or the economy for our financial situation. We cannot control those aspects of our lives, but we can take the reins of our financial life by taking personal responsibility for our financial future. We want to move from being passive, like, oh, there's nothing I can do about it. It might be, teachers don't make a lot of money. Maybe that's a belief system that you have. And it's moving from that passive sort of defeatist attitude to a more active attitude. How can you promote your education? How can you get promotions? How can you increase your earnings, both at work or with a side hustle, or by being financially smart in your household? And we want to move from being uninformed to informed. I love that my kids in high school have taken a personal finance class. I didn't have that as a Gen Xer. So we want to have financial literacy. That is something I'm really concerned about as a therapist. I've seen a lot of couples where one partner is financially literate and the other one is not, or one is a higher earner than the other. And this can create a lot of imbalance in the relationship in terms of power and control. Also, we want to move from disempowerment to empowerment. Instead of believing there's nothing we can do, knowing we have the ability to create transformative change in our financial lives. I want you to explore your relationship with your finances. You might even consider acting as if your finances were a person. How do you treat that person? Are you neglectful of them or even abusive of them? Or do you take good care of them and respect them? I want you to examine your communication about finances in your relationships with your partner, if you have a partner, with your kids, if you have kids, or in other relationships. Maybe it's you're going on a weekend with your girlfriends and you need to have good financial communication and boundaries about your budget and what you're able to afford and what you're willing to spend. So we all need to have a financial system for managing our money, and we need to have a routine with regular meetings to communicate with our loved ones and involve your kids with this. We need to give our kids financial roots by giving them financial security and stability, which is why working on these things for ourselves is important. And we also want to give them financial wings. So we want to include them in these conversations from early childhood, even talking about what's your school clothes budget, and this is how much we have to spend, and this is what you'd like. How do we make decisions to make that work? Maybe options like thrifting might allow you to have more of what you want, or prioritizing certain items. So teaching healthy financial habits, setting healthy boundaries financially. In my practice, I see a lot of kids who are enabled by their parents, and it may be good intentions, but it's creating some entitlement in kids. So we want to again give them support, but also give them boundaries so that they're incentivized to work for themselves. And we need to set healthy boundaries with other people in our life. If our finances are struggling, then we want to be mindful of any codependency in our relationships. Are we taking care of somebody who is under functioning because of an untreated mental health issue or substance abuse issue, or maybe a failure to launch issue? I have young adult stepchildren, and we're working on them adulting and giving them, financial independence. So how to wean them off so that they can become independent adults and stand financially on their own. So understanding codependency in relationships is when we overfunction and allow somebody to underfunction, and that it's not of service to our financial health, nor is it to their financial health. We also want to be mindful of financial infidelity. This is something I see a lot in my practice, which is basically a betrayal of honesty in financial life. So having secret debt or secret assets that is not transparent or disclosed to your partner. And so even with our kids, I've had worked with parents who didn't know that their kids were sports gambling or buying DoorDash or charging things to their credit card. So really looking at how can you tighten up your boundaries in your financial relationships. Excuse me. I had a client share a cute story with me as we were working on her belief systems about money. She came into a session with a breakthrough realization. She said, Joyce, I realized it's my mom's beliefs about money that are making me buy ugly shoes. And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, my mother was very frugal, and she drilled in us not to spend a lot of money on clothing or shoes. And I internalized that to mean that I'm not worth having nice things. And this client said her 10-year-old daughter said, Mom, why do you have a closet with hundreds of shoes that you don't like, that you don't feel good about yourself in? You'd probably save money by buying fewer, nicer shoes, and you'd feel better about yourselves. So this is a silly example, but how have your family's beliefs about money shaped some of your financial behaviors in a way that are not adaptive or healthy for you? We each have a different money script. And these are the 4 main money scripts. People who have money worship think that money brings happiness. People who have money status as their script believe that money is going to give them self-worth. Susie Orman said, self-worth leads to net worth, but net worth does not lead to self-worth. Self-worth is internal, and we are all innately deserving of prosperity and financial stability. But having money does not make us feel good about ourselves. That's why the mental health section 2, video 2, was so important. Money avoidance. I'm guilty of this in the past. I've had to really work at not sticking my head in the sand about my finances and having the courage to look at those balances, to have meetings with advisors. Money vigilance is the healthiest money script. And that is where you are on it. You have a budget, you are looking at your finances regularly, you're aware of your spending, you're aware of your savings, and you manage your finances in a way that is empowered. Again, taking responsibility. I love this quote from Wayne Dyer, the author of The Power of Intention. He says, everything you do is based on the choices that you make. It's not your parents' past relationships, the job, the economy, the weather, an argument, or your age that is to blame. You and only you are responsible for every decision and choice you make. That's a big pill to swallow. I was interested when I learned that Wayne Dyer was dealt a difficult hand of hardships. I believe we're each dealt a different hand of hardships and blessings, and life is not always fair in her dealings. But Wayne Dyer was basically, he grew up in foster homes and orphanages because his father was an alcoholic and his mother was unable to care for he and his 2 siblings. So he had a tough life financially in the beginning. And he said this. So I really believe that that's true. Each of us has to take the reins of our financial life. This is another wheel exercise that I have for you. And I'd like you to print this out again from the landing page that I'll share with you at the end of this video. You can print this out and complete this yourself. You can work with this wheel with older students and children or young adult children. Each spoke of the wheel is a different aspect of financial health. Are you spending within your means? Are you negotiating? Are you saving? Are you investing? Do you know your net worth? That balance of assets, money that you have, and liabilities, money that you owe. And this works like the other wheel exercises, where if you're doing well on a certain spoke, you put a dot toward the outside of the wheel. If it's an area of deficit for you, the dot goes toward the inside of the wheel. When you're done doing all the spokes, you connect the dots and you identify the dents in your wheel. I'd like you to identify the 3 areas that you need to improve on in your financial health. When we take care of our financial health, again, because mental health and financial health are so interconnected, we feel better. We feel more confident, more peaceful. I definitely encourage you to promote your own financial literacy. There are great programs available online. I know Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman offer some. They're very reasonably priced. Also, your local community center has help with budgeting and support. And I like Consumer Credit Counseling Service. CCCS offers free budgeting, free financial literacy courses where they teach you how to read bank statements. They teach you the basics of money management. They can help you with debt consolidation, getting down those interest rates of credit card debt, and setting up a realistic payment plan, sometimes even getting some of the balance decreased. But really promoting your financial literacy, not only in yourself, but in your kids. I recently passed out blank checks to my kids who are 16 and 19 and 22 and had them practice writing checks. And we gave a little prize to the person who was able to do that correctly. So just making it a part of your routine life to talk about money with your kids and with your students and in the classroom. We want to be mindful of the emotions around money. And again, that might come from our past. And we want to use those mindfulness strategies and the healthy detachment strategies so that we can shift from the negative emotions on the left to the positive emotions on the right. Moving from feeling hopeless to feeling hopeful because you're taking action, you're doing something about it. Some people experience guilt when they actually have financial success. But again, having that abundant mindset, the more you have, the more you're able to help others. So it is not selfish. It's an aspect of financial self-care. Making sure that you are moving from a scarcity mindset, which is focused on fear and lack, limited thinking, and competition over resources, like the toilet paper thing over the pandemic, or being fearful about gas. That's a scarcity mindset. An abundance mindset, again, is belief that there's more than enough for all of us, that we can collaborate together, that makes us stronger. It involves believing in ourselves and really creating a bigger life for ourselves so that we can be a lighthouse for others and we can shine the way for others to also expand their lives and live a bigger life personally and professionally. Money has flow, just like the breath or love, which are both resources. They flow in and out. And we want to find that healthy balance of spending and saving. We want to tolerate for ebbs in our financial flow. So maybe during the summers, maybe you as a teacher are paid less, or maybe you own a business that's seasonal. You want to invest in yourself, invest in your education, invest in training, invest in your future, your retirement. And understand that we're all at different seasons. I'm facing empty nest in a couple of years. Some of you might be just working at buying your first condo or your first apartment, or maybe you're thinking about saving for your kids' college. And our kids are, at the very beginnings of their financial life, and we want to support them in developing some healthy skills. So lastly, we're going to talk about really owning your worth by stopping that language that's self-limiting or self-sabotaging. So instead of saying, I can't, I don't, I won't, shifting that to I can, I do, I will. And encouraging that in our kids and our students to make sure that they're focusing on all their strengths and gifts and not on what they're not. Cognitive behavioral therapy asserts that our thoughts precede our emotions and behaviors. So if we have negative thinking about money or our limitations, it is going to negatively impact our mental health and financial health. Thought records are a way to restructure negative beliefs into neutral or positive beliefs. So this is a sample exercise that you can complete. So I really want you to own your worth. Remember, you are good enough. You deserve to set healthy financial boundaries for your personal and professional success and to model that for your students and children. And you deserve support. So I want you to get a board of advisors, have a financial advisor, a financial planner, attend a 12-step group related to financial health, like Overspenders Anonymous or Gamblers Anonymous or Debtors Anonymous. Make sure that you have a good accountant or an accountability partner to help you manage your spending. My belief in success is that success is to live openly, authentically, and lovingly in alignment with the highest good of ourselves and others, and to the greatest extent possible. That's really leveraging our emotional intelligence. If you're interested in my book, it's available on Amazon and Audible. It's been featured in Forbes and many different magazines. And it was the summer read in all the tabloids, Us Weekly and everything. And I've been in CNN and big places as well. I hope that you'll check it out. And remember, I have copies of the slides, these wheel handouts, and many other resources for you on the landing page. So I hope that you'll check it out, and feel free to contact me if I can ever be of service to you. Thank you so much.